Good afternoon. I thought I would share with you Nikola Tesla's inventions, his inventions and other writings. Fascinating. The man was well ahead of himself. It's a shame. Well done. I will read a wee passage first before I start, which starts. I would add further, in view of various rumours which have reached me, that Mr. J. Piermont Morgan did not interest himself with me in a business way, but in the same large spirit in which he has assisted many other pioneers. He carried out his generous promise to the letter, and it would have been most unreasonable to expect from him anything more. He had the highest regard for my attainments and gave me every evidence of his complete faith in my ability to ultimately achieve which I had set out to do. I am unwilling to accord to some small-minded and jealous individuals the satisfaction of having thwarted my efforts. These men to me are nothing more than microbes of a nasty disease. My project was retarded by laws of nature. The world was not prepared for it. It was too far ahead of time, but the laws will prevail and in the end and make it a triumphant success, which of course he has. He even says the future is his wireless transmission. Now I'll go and read the rest. I'll start for 1 million volts possible. Judging from my past experience, as much as 1 million volts are perfectly practical. On the other hand, currents of many thousands of amperes may be obtained in the antenna. A plant of but very moderate dimensions is required for such performances. Theoretically, a terminal of less than 90 feet in diameter is sufficient to develop an electromotive force of that magnitude, while for the antenna currents of from 2000 to 4000 amperes. At the usual frequencies, it need not be larger than 30 feet in diameter. In more restricted meaning, this wireless transmitter is one in which the Hertz wave radiation is an entirely negligible quantity as compared with the whole energy, under which conditions the damping factor is extremely small and an enormous charge is stored in the elevated capacity. Such a circuit may then be excited with impulses of any kind, even of low frequency, and it will yield sinusoidal and continuous oscillations like those of an alternator. Taken into the narrow significance of the term, however, is a resonance transformer which, possessing these equalities, is accurately proportioned to fit the globe and its electrical constants and properties, by virtue of which design it becomes highly efficient and effective in the wireless transmission of energy. Distance is then absolutely eliminated. There being no dimension in the intensity of the transmitted impulses. It is even possible to make the actions increase with the distance from the plant according to the exact mathematical law. This invention was one of a number comprised of my world system of wireless transmissions, which I undertook to commercialise on my return to New York in the 1900s. As to the immediate purpose of my enterprise, they were clearly outlined in a technical statement of that period, from which I quote, "The world system has resulted from a combination of several original discoveries made by the inventor in the course of long continued research and experimentation. It makes possible not only the instantaneous and precise wireless transmission of any kind of signals, messages or characters to all parts of the world, but also the interconnections of the existing telegraph, telephone and other stations without any change in their present equipment. By its means, for instance, a telephone subscriber here may call up and talk to another subscriber on the globe. An inexpensive receiver, no bigger than a watch, will enable him to listen anywhere, on land or sea, to a speech delivered or music played in some other place, however distant. These examples are cited merely to give an idea of the possibilities of this great scientific advance, which annihilates distance and makes that perfect. A natural conductor. The earth available for all the innumerable processes which human ingenuity has found for a line wire. One far-reaching result of this is that any device capable of being operated through one or more wires at a distance obviously restricted can likewise be actuated without artificial conductors, and with the same facility and accuracy at distances to which there are no limits other than those imposed by the physical dimensions of the globe. Thus, not only will entirely new fields for commercial exploitation be opened up by this ideal method of transmission, but the old ones vastly extended. The world system is based on the application of following important inventions and discoveries. 1. The Tesla transformer. This apparatus is a production of the electrical vibrations. It's revolutionary as gunpowder was in warfare. Currents many times stronger than any ever generated in the usual ways, and sparks over 100 feet long have been produced by the inventor with an instrument of this kind. 2. The magnifying transmitter. This is Tesla's best invention, a peculiar transformer specially adapted to excite the earth, which is the transmission of electrical energy. What the telescope is in an astronomical observation. By the use of this marvelous device, he has already set up electrical movements of greater intensity than those of lightning, and passed a current sufficient to light more than 200 incandescent lamps around the globe. 3. The Tesla wireless system. This system comprises a number of improvements and is the only means known for transmitting economically electrical energy to a distance without wires. Careful tests and measurements in connection with an experiment station of great activity erected by the inventor in Colorado have demonstrated that power in any desired amount can be conveyed clear across the globe if necessary, with a loss not exceeding a few %. 4. The art of individualization. This invention of Tesla is a primitive tune-on. What find language is to be unarticulated expression. It makes possible transmission of signals or messages absolutely secret and exclusive, both in the active and passive aspect. That is non-interfering as well as non-interferable. Sorry. Each signal is like an individual of unmistakable identity, and there is virtually no limit to the number of stations or instruments which can be simultaneously operated without the slight mutual disturbance. 5. The terrestrial stationary waves. This wonderful discovery, popularly explained, means that the earth is responsive to electrical vibrations of definite pitch, such as a tuning fork to certain waves of sound. These particular electrical vibrations, capable of powerfully exciting the globe, lend themselves to innumerable uses of great importance commercially and in many other aspects. The first world system power plant can be put into operation in 9 months. With this power plant, it will be practical to attain electrical activities up to 10 million horsepower, and it is designed to serve far as many technical achievements as are possible without due expense. Among these following may be mentioned: 1. The interconnection of the existing telegraph exchanges or offices all over the world. 2. The establishment of a secret and non-interferable government telegraph service. The interconnection of all the present telephone exchanges or offices on the globe, the universal distribution of general laws by telegraph or telephone in connection with the press. 5. The establishment of such a world system of intelligence transmission for exclusive private use. 6. The interconnection and operation of all rock tickers of the world. 7. The establishment of a world system of musical distribution, etc. Be Spotify, maybe. 8. The universal registration of time by cheap clocks indicating the hour with astronomical precision and require no attention whatsoever. That would be the digital clock. 9. The world transmission of typed or handwritten character, letters, checks, etc. 10. The establishment of a universal marine service, enabling the navigators of all ships to steer perfectly without compass to determine the exact location, hour, and speed to prevent collisions and disasters, etc. The inauguration of a system of world printing on land and sea. 12. The world reproduction of photographic pictures and all kinds of drawings of records. I also propose to make demonstrations in the wireless transmission of power on a small scale, but sufficient to carry conviction. Besides them, I prefer to order incomparably more important applications of my discovery, which will be disclosed at some future date. A plant was built on Long Island with a tower of 187 feet high, having a spherical terminal about 68 feet in diameter. These dimensions were adequate for the transmission of virtually any amount of energy. Originally only from 200 to 300 kW were provided, but I intended to employ later several thousand horsepower. The transmitter was to emit a wave complex of special characteristics, and I have devised a unique method of telephonic control of any amount of energy. The tower was destroyed 2 years ago, but my projects are being developed, and another one, improved in some features, will be constructed. On this occasion, I would contradict the widely circulated report that the structure was demonized by the government, which, owing to war conditions, might have created prejudice in the minds of those who may not know that the papers which 30 years ago conferred upon me the honour of the American citizenship are always kept in a safe, while my orders, diplomas, degrees, gold medals and other distinctions are packed away in old trunks. If this report had a foundation, I would have been refunded a large sum of money, which I expended in the construction of the tower. On the contrary, it was the interest of the government to preserve it, particularly as it would have made possible to mention just one valuable result, the location of a submarine in any part of the world. My plant services and all my improvements have always been at the disposal of the officials. And ever since the outbreak of the European conflict, I have been working at a sacrifice on several inventions of mine relating to aerial navigation, ship propulsion, and wireless transmission, which are of great importance to the country. Those who are industries of the United States, and I am not aware that there lies an inventor who has been in this respect as fortunate as myself, especially as regards the use of his improvements in the war. I have refrained from publicly expressing myself on this subject before, as it seemed improper to dwell on personal matters. While all the world was in dire trouble, I would add further, in view of various rumours which have reached me, that Mr. J. Pierpont Morgan did not interest himself with me in a business way, but in the same large spirit in which he has assisted many other pioneers. He carried out his generous promise to the letter, and it would have been most unreasonable to expect from him any more. He had the highest regard for my attainment and gave me every evidence of his complete faith in my ability to ultimately achieve what I had set out to do. I am unwilling to accord to some small-minded and jealous individuals the satisfaction of having thwarted my efforts. These men are to me nothing more than microbes of a nasty disease. My project was retarded by laws of nature. The world was not prepared for it. It was far too ahead of the time, but the same laws will prevail in the end and make it a triumphant success. So that's Tesla himself. I'm going to start reading chapters of his book because it's fascinating. He really is a really fascinating man. Well, thank you for listening. I hope you enjoy Tesla as much as I do. He is a really, really clever man. Very clever. One of the best scientists we ever had, probably. And I do believe he was murdered because it was the Orthodox New Year, January the 6th, it was, January 6th. And his trusted accountant, who was George Schwerf, he turned out to be George W. Bush Sr. So there you go, he was murdered. He really was murdered for his inventions that he didn't want the government to have, because he knew that they would use it to wipe out humanity, just like what they're trying to do right now. Yes, and harnessing the sun. I'll be doing that chapter next, because he had found ways to harness the sun's energy for to help mankind, not for to hinder. But these greedy men, the microbes of the nasty disease that he mentions, these greedy men are more interested in money. That's why we get electricity grid and we have to pay our bills. But Nikola Tesla, he wanted all this for us for free, which we should have it for free. Electricity, things like that. There's other ways they can make money from it, but no, they want the money from us. They want us to be controlled, divided, conquered. They just want to control. And that's exactly what they're doing. And they have done for years. And will keep on doing for years until we can all stand up and more or less stick two fingers up to them. But the one person that will help us is God upstairs. He will definitely help, because this can't go on for much longer, because I don't think the world could handle it all, especially with Fukushima. That's leaking at a grotesque rate. The state of the fish and mutations in the fish that are coming out the seas. Honestly, it blows my mind. It's such a shame. Well, thank you for listening. Bye just now. Thanks very much. Just okay. Right, I think that's me stopped it. Okay, are you sure you want to stop streaming? Yes.